All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the different types of sales jobs. So, a lot of times when we think about sales, we usually think of just kind of one stereotype of what a salesperson is like. But actually, there are several different types of sales jobs, and each one requires a little bit different approach and a little bit different way of working. So, the four classifications of sales jobs we're going to talk about today are trade selling, missionary selling, technical selling, and new business selling. Also, in this video, we're going to talk about the difference between order takers and order makers and what the difference is in that. Okay, so first off, let's talk about trade selling. So trade selling is basically selling to a reseller. So think about a Nike salesperson. They're not going to go directly to the customers, but they're going to go maybe to like a Zappos or a Foot Locker and try to convince them to carry Nike products or to feature Nike products more prominently in their store or on their web page. And the whole idea of trade selling is to try to help the retailers sell your product more effectively. The next type of sales job we're going to talk about is missionary selling. So in this type of selling, this is where you are influencing someone who is not the end user. So you're not going out directly to your customers. Instead, you're going to people who are going to be making decisions on behalf of your customers. So the biggest example here is pharmaceutical sales. Pharmaceutical salespeople don't go and sell directly to the end consumer. Instead, they go to doctors and they help doctors understand the benefits of the drug, why their patients should use the drug, what types of ailments the drug can be used for, what are some of the downsides, side effects, things to be careful of. So then that way, when doctors are helping a patient, they know whether or not a particular drug can help their patients. So the whole idea of the pharmaceutical salesperson, right, isn't to go and close sales directly, but instead they're trying to enable doctors to make good decisions about their drugs and hopefully influence them to use their company's drugs versus a competitor's. So the next type of salesperson we're going to talk about is a technical salesperson. So the whole idea of technical selling is you have a technical salesperson who sells to a technical customer. So an example of this, where I used to work at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, we provided a lot of solutions to companies' IT departments. So for example, we did a lot of work with airlines and helping them manage their ticketing processes, so all of the back end stuff that happens on the computer, when you buy a ticket and managing that whole process. So one of our salespeople, right? This would be someone who, is a former engineer, somebody who really understands deeply the technical aspects of our product. Then they would go talk to the chief information officers of the different airlines. So a technical salesperson selling to technical customers. And the last classification of sales jobs we're going to talk about is new business selling. So most of the time when we think of a salesperson, this is the type of person we think of. So a new business selling is all about finding new customers for a business. So you think of the people doing summer sales, going door to door. That's new business selling. Going and calling on new customers to buy your product. That is new business selling. Now lastly, before we finish up, I just want to talk about the difference between order takers and order makers. So order takers, these are people who, they sit back, they respond to requests, a customer calls them up and they help them complete the order. So they're responding to requests from customers. And usually they're completing purchases the customers already want. Now occasionally, a lot of times, order takers will be trained to add suggestive sales. So, for example, providing upgrades. And, if you've ever gone through a fast food and they say something like, oh, hey, would you like to upgrade to the meal? Or would you like a drink with that? Or fries? Or, can we add something to what you've already said? This is suggestive sales. So, when you experience that in the fast food, right, you have an order taker who then is adding a suggestive sales. Now, order makers, these are creative problem solvers, and they go out and they create new demand for a product. And because this is more difficult, because you're creating new demand, because you have to influence people, this also creates the most potential for high income.